Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Forex with a free US dollar index analysis for you for the New York session after it's closed for Thursday the 6th of January. Before I jump into my daily chart, a quick look at an historical chart to get the big picture. I expect that the dollar's in a third wave to the upside of a cycle degree wave C, of a third wave to the upside at primary degree. Within primary 3, it's had intermediate 1 and a very deep correction for intermediate 2. We've had a very clean, obvious trend channel break to the upside of this downwards trend channel containing 2 zigzag, giving us a pretty strong indication the trend, at least in the midterm, has changed from down to up. This should be an intermediate degree third wave, which will be confirmed when price moves above the end of wave 1. And I have that confirmation point and targets for you on my daily chart. So taking you now there to the daily chart where this low for 2 black and C blue is this point down here. Intermediate 3 will be confirmed when it moves beyond the end of 1 above 88.708, and it will reach 1.618, the length of 1, which is highly likely rather than just equality because 2 was such a deep correction of 1. So this target at 99.16 for a few months' time, a long-term target, is extremely likely for price to get up to that point. In the midterm, I have a target for the end of 3 blue, which may be reached in another 2 weeks or so, maybe 2, 3 or 4 weeks, about 88.18, where it reaches 1.618, the length of wave 1 blue. I had an expectation that we were going to have one final small little fifth wave to the downside before we saw this trend change with my last analysis. That didn't happen, and that's necessitated a pretty thorough reanalysis of this piece of movement. Instead of 2 blue being over here, I've moved it over to here now. I still have this as a zigzag, ABC, except I've labelled it W, the first zigzag of a double zigzag correction. Joined by X, I'm much happier with seeing this piece of movement as an X wave, a zigzag, than trying to see it as a 5-wave structure. It has a much better look with an A, B, C in there, quite clearly seen on a 4-hour chart now. And this piece of downwards movement I had labelled as a 1, 2, 3. It turns out it was an A, B, C, which looks exactly the same as 1, 2, 3. So I've labelled this now Y. With movement above this point, it can't be a 4th wave correction because 4 would move into 1. So this is a 3-wave structure that was over, and a trend channel breach of this piece of movement holding this to the downside would clearly be seen if I put the trend channel there. Either way, the trend has obviously changed from down to up. Any further downwards movement, a further extension down of wave 2 before it's confirmed that it's over, cannot take price below 75.631. So at this point, the invalidation point on my daily chart will still sit at here. We need to see confirmation of wave 3 blue being underway, and that will come when it moves beyond the end of wave 1 above 81.444. So when we see price move above that point, we'll have confirmation that the second wave correction is indeed over and the third wave to the upside is then underway, and we can expect price to continue on rising to this short-term target or mid-term target about 88.18. Taking you now to the hourly chart, where we're going to look at this recent rise and have a look at this wave structure, where this low for pink Y and blue 2 is this point down here. And it looks so far like a pretty clear 1, 2, 3 with a nice clean third wave. Within wave 3, 1, 2, 3 has a really nice Fibonacci ratio to 1. It's just 0.03 longer than 1.618, the length of wave 1. It's reasonable to expect, therefore, that wave 5 will reach equality with 1 or maybe equality with 3. Wave 5 has just passed equality with 1 at 80.669, so it's a bit of a chunk over that. Also, within wave 5, purple here, we've got aqua, leading contracting diagonal for 1, 2, a pretty clean, obvious third wave, nice and steep, exactly what we should expect from a third wave. A little 4th wave, and probably an ending contracting diagonal completing just now for wave 5 aqua. At 80.958, wave 5 aqua will reach 0.618, the length of wave 1. So it's also just 80.958 is just a little bit above, so that's the upper end of my target zone, and price is now within this target zone. I expect that we're pretty close to a trend change, at least for the short term, maybe seeing at least for 24 hours, we may see overall choppy, overlapping downwards movement for a 4th wave. Wave 4 orange cannot move into wave 1 orange price territory, so price shouldn't fall below 79.527 for this wave count. It's likely wave 4 orange may come to end around about the lower end of this wide channel. This is Elliott's technique for an impulse. I've drawn a trend line first from 1 to about where the high of 3 is. If we see a touch more further upwards movement before it's over and we see a trend change, then redraw this upper trend line. Then place a parallel copy on the low of 2. And this should give some guidance to where wave 4 may end. It also is likely to end around about the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree, so my target for this little piece of downwards movement is 80.051. When that's over, we should have a 5th wave to the upside, and when we know where 4 ends and 5 begins, I can calculate a short-term target for you to the upside there, hopefully in next analysis. Orange wave 3, which began down here, will reach 2.618, the length of orange wave 1, at 80.86, which is in the middle of this target zone, and price has just fallen above that. So there's a bit of a cluster of 5th wave ends in this target zone. So I expect that's a fairly high probability for the trend to turn around and start to move down for a little while. Not an overall downwards trend, and it should be quite choppy and overlapping. It may be a sideways, time-consuming triangle, or possibly a flat correction. So that's all for me with your free dollar analysis today. I hope this helps you in your trading, and if you want daily analysis of the euro dollar and the pound dollar, you'll find it on my site.